Welcome back to Big Movie Mouth Off, the podcast where three Salt Lake City-based critics stand their ground about film. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Byrd.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
It's episode 32, and we all hope you enjoyed episode 31. A little bit off the beaten path, just guilty pleasures. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to that one yet, you can go back and pick it up anytime. It's sort of timeless, but it was fun for us to do. I think you guys enjoyed it. We'll probably do that again at some point. Back to normal this week, though. We're going to review Mickey 17, Bong Joon-ho's new movie. We're going to review Novocaine, the latest movie featuring Jack Quaid. He's having a huge moment right now in Hollywood. Then we'll do Guilty Pleasures Clones Edition because of Mickey 17, and we'll close it out with coming attractions. Before Brooks takes us through the synopsis of Mickey 17, let's listen to a little bit of the trailer.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if you're thinking at this point, what have I done?
How lucky can one guy be?
Nothing was working out, and I wanted to get off of Earth.
You're applying to be an expendable?
Yeah.
You read through the whole application.
Ain't that a kick in the head?
I should have read through it.
Once you die, we'll print a new version of your body.
My head keeps...
Okay, Brooks, what's this story?
Well, there is a lot going on in this movie, like a lot.
Yeah,
so
a little
to keep it to keep it simple, Mickey Barnes needs to get off planet, signs up to be an expendable, and gets shipped off to another planet that they're trying to see if they can make it a new habitat for Earth. And he's constantly being cloned. He's sent out on dangerous missions, everything from viruses to creatures. And then he eventually wakes up next to himself, and hilarity ensues.
I'm going to start this conversation.
Yes, please do.
With a little bit of a story, and I think it'll be incredibly provocative, especially for my friend Brooks. All right.
Ooh.
So here's a story. There was a director. His name was Nicholas Winding Refn, and he had a couple of critical darling movies, Bronson, Valhalla Rising. Then he made Drive, and the world lost its mind. Rightfully so. And as a reward for making that movie, Nicholas was basically told, do whatever you want. No rules, no editing, do whatever you want. And he did. And what came next was Only God Forgives, which I do not think even God has forgiven yet. It was a disaster.
I haven't.
I never saw it.
And I'm about to tell you guys that I think it has happened again with Bong Joon-ho.
This is nowhere near as big of a train wreck as I'm sure that was.
I'm going to disagree with you a lot this episode,
Wow.
Chris.
I'm just going to let you two go at it. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to eat my popcorn.
Hey, I've been on Bong's train since The Host and then watched all of his back movies, and I love everything.
I'm going to let your pun of train go by because, of course, he did Snowpiercer. And
Which I only found out last week. I had no clue.
You
love
didn't know
It's a
he did that?
masterpiece. No.
I love Snowpiercer. I loved Okja. Not a lot of people saw that movie, but
That
it's
one
really
I
good.
haven't seen.
And Parasite was obviously one of the greatest movies of the last few decades. I think he was given a blank check, and I think he wrote one that cannot possibly be cashed with Mickey 17. This movie is too much of everything. It's highly bloated. It's not nearly as funny as it thinks it is. It was, in my opinion, a huge disappointment. And I went into it wanting it to be great. You know, this was one of my coming attractions like a month ago. I was so excited about this because I loved Parasite so much. So I've said my piece. I've shot my shot, Brooks. What's your response?
Well, for me, it holds up to the other stuff he's done. He always has kind of these not messy, but weird storylines running at the same time. And he goes back to like Memories of Murder or Mother. There's always a lot going on. So for me, it just kind of felt at home.
Adam, I know that you're somewhere in the middle, right? Brooks liked the movie. I really, really didn't. I know that you've kind of been going back and forth in your mind. What worked for you? What didn't?
So we talked a lot about how Robert Pattinson is a great actor and can do many different roles and do many things that are amazing with the right director. And this is kind of one where he does get to play two roles because he wakes up and all of a sudden his clone's next to him and he's like, oh my God, freaking out. But even though they're the same character, they do explain well in the movie because it does some good world building about how all this stuff works, is that they're the same person, but they're not. Like Mickey 18 is much more, I would say, intense and almost prone to violence than Mickey 17, who is kind of a coward, if we're going to be straight up about it. So I like the fact that even though he was playing the same character, he was still playing two different roles, if that
Bong
makes sense.
Joon-ho was very much a fan of multiplicity.
Yes. Which maybe will come up later on. We never know because we've got some guilty pleasures coming up.
Well, then someone's maybe safe.
Well, look, I do think that Bong Joon-ho is a great world builder. The world building in Snowpiercer was amazing, but that was a much tighter story. It was a much
Well, and it was
streamlined
also
story.
based on a
Very.
previous story too. I mean,
It
this one
was.
is
Well,
too.
this
in
is based on
fairness.
a book.
Yeah,
It was,
which I'm
yeah.
reading, by the way.
He's using other people's source material, which is, that's great. Snowpiercer was, to go ahead and use Brooks's pun from earlier, that was a story that was really on rails. It stayed very focused, right? This one is entirely unfocused. Although the way Brooks told the story sounds pretty simple, and it is on its face, I think that the storytelling is really unfocused. And I, right away from the top, knew I was in trouble for a couple of reasons. I'm not sure why Pattinson chose that voice to characterize Mickey.
It was a choice. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely a
It
choice.
took me out of it almost immediately. And there's no way really to describe it. You'll just have to watch the movie out
That's
there.
how he talks in the trailer.
That's true, but it's more grating over the course of 2 hours and 15 minutes than I
Well,
thought
I
it would
think
be.
it goes back to what I was just talking about was that character is much more of a milquetoast, very cowardly. And honestly, that's what I would expect someone with that temperament to sound like. I mean, it is a caricature. It's an over exaggeration of probably what that person really sounded like, but it did make so that his switch over to Mickey 18, which was a lot different, became that much more pronounced for me, at least. That was easy.
Yeah.
And then it became easy to tell them apart and also became the whole thing. Because in the book, and same thing with the movie, is trying to make sure people don't find out that they're multiples, because then they'll both be destroyed and their brain will be destroyed and all kinds of stuff deleted. So it almost makes it more difficult for them to do that because now they're technically two separate people with identities. And it doesn't help that the one Mickey, I think they talk about this too, Mickey 17 didn't get uploaded for a couple weeks before he allegedly died, and they made 18. So 18's missing weeks of his life. And so it makes this little fun thing where they don't always know what the other one knows. And I think that, again, having the two different personalities also made it harder for them to push forward with the story because we're screwed kind of thing.
I don't recall that gap. I wonder if you might be bringing book stuff
It might be the
into
book.
this.
It might be the
Yeah.
book too, because I'm literally reading it right now.
Right. You might be conflating the two things, but that's not like going to ruin anyone's experience. That little
Could have just been even more going on in the movie.
Wow, Brooks, that's really what I wanted is even more. No.
Now for the uninitiated, I don't have a TED talk for this one. So
Okay.
I'll let you
All
guys
right.
continue. You guys now continue. I'm gonna be quiet.
The reason
we're good.
his voice bothered me so much is because you get to hear so much of it. And Brooks, I wonder if you, like me, think that the voiceover in film can be pretty lazy if it's used badly.
It can be, yeah. I mean, obviously, this is definitely not high fidelity.
Right.
That's like the best example of voiceover I could think of.
Well, the best example of this debate is the two versions of Blade Runner. I mean,
true.
the whole
yeah.
voiceover
Yeah.
controversy follows that movie everywhere. And I think this movie would have benefited from tighter storytelling that did not need the voiceover. I agree, Brooks, with Adam that the world building is really good.
I loved it. And I loved the creepers. They were like
I want one. I want one as a pet.
No, right? I was like, who knew a potato bug could be so cute?
Yeah, those are the aliens they show in the trailer. They're very charming.
The one thing that really surprised me about it all, as far as the pacing, I guess, is how it kind of got to a certain point in the movie and it started to feel like a lot of it was happening in real time. And I can see how that could be a problem for some through the end of it, because they may start to feel like it's getting boring if they're not invested.
That's interesting because when I say bloated, I really am talking about the clock. I felt like a lot of the scenes were too long. In particular, there's a dinner scene. I won't go into what happens, but it takes too long for anything of value to come out of that scene. And I think there were a lot of scenes like that in the movie that weren't tight enough. They weren't well edited. And by the time you get to the end of them, you're kind of wondering what the point of them was. Everything's a little bit loose, a little bit sloppy, a little bit of a mess. Adam, you can't be quiet much longer.
I was going to jump in on this one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you had your hand up, so.
Well, I guess right now there is kind of a stigma between Bong Joon-ho and Warner Brothers because they wanted to release a different cut of the movie.
Oh, I don't know.
And it makes me think that your cut is what Warner Brothers wanted to do. And then he probably forced basically a director's cut into theaters.
Interesting. Well, it hurts a lot, Brooks, that you would align me with the studio in the way that you just did, because I know you meant that as a penalty for me, but
No,
I wonder,
I'm just saying that,
maybe
that
you're
you
onto
were
something.
right, that you may be right.
Maybe.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, though, that it's Warner Brothers, and I don't trust Zaslav to save my life. So
No.
I feel if they wanted his cut, it would have been a Michael Bay slow-mo
No, they didn't want
movie.
his cut, and that's the one we got.
No, no, I'm saying if the Warner Brothers cut
Oh.
existed. Yeah, because I
Okay.
know I read a thing where he's very adamant about no, because he's had movies before where they hopped in and changed what he did. And he's like, no, this is my movie, for better or for worse. I stand behind it, which I give him props for, because even though Counts, you're not a fan of it, at least he can say this is mine.
Yeah.
And he didn't let other people get their fingerprints all over it.
There's no part of me that wants a studio shortened or studio stunted version of this film. No part of me. I don't want
Yeah.
that. I want to see what Bong Joon-ho has to say, but I want to see him with some guardrails, the kinds that he knows he should have on himself. The world he builds and the story he's telling is really interesting, and it didn't need to be so silly, so overlong, so overbaked. All of the tolerances, all of the little calibrations for me just felt off.
Makes me wonder too if maybe the studios have had a little bit more reign on him in the past, and then Warner Brothers, weirdly, Warner Brothers let him loose, and now we see what we got.
It's an interesting question, Brooks, because you look at something like Parasite, which is also
So tight.
it's so tight. There's not one, he does not put one foot wrong. Absolute perfection. So we know what he's capable of. I'm not done with Bong Joon-ho. I just
Oh, no.
didn't enjoy this experience. So that's a lot of me. Let's get to some scores and see where we come down on this. I don't think it's a big surprise where I am. I'll go last. I want to hear, Adam, your score, since I think you're the biggest mystery in the room right now.
So I'm at a 2.5 because I did enjoy it overall. I think it was a good story. The world building was great. My problems are kind of similar to yours, Counts, in that I do feel it was overstuffed. I don't think we needed the epilogue. I think that just added on 15 minutes that you could have built into the film if you'd had that tighter editing. And I know, Brooks, we kind of talked about this and you disagree, but as much as I do enjoy political satire, and I think we all know my thoughts on the current administration, the heavy-handedness pound you in the head of Mark Ruffalo literally doing his Trump impersonation and the red hats and everything else. Look, I love social commentary, but there's a smart way to do it, and then there's a way that hits you in the head, like the Shiba Inu, like sending you to horny jail by bouncing on the head with a bat. Like, that's what it felt like, and it was very distracting for me. But I really liked it. I love his work. I love him even more now that I know he did Snowpiercer, and yes, I'm a bad film critic for not knowing that. But I think he does need an editor and someone to kind of rein him in, and maybe they're just still on the Oscar high.
Speaking of the Oscar, I think maybe that's where the red hat stuff came from, because someone in the administration had some words about Parasite winning Best Picture. And so I think this was like a weird way for him to get his version of revenge.
So, Brooks, where do you score it?
Well, I'll be honest. Walking in, I was hoping for a 4. My immediate reaction leaving the theater, I probably would have gone 3.5, but I'm going to settle with a 3. I like the world building. Yes, there are a lot of things that could have been tighter, and you do start to feel its length. But the performances are good, and there's some really fun stuff that happens. And so, yeah, I'm going to go with 3.
I'm not anywhere near where you guys are, and you're going to probably scream when you hear my score, but I just felt like all of the ingredients were right, and they were applied in the wrong way. And I just didn't enjoy the experience at all. For me, it's 1 star. I walked out pretty darn disappointed. So
I'm not surprised.
Need I remind you of the White Buffalo Lone Ranger?
I watched The White Buffalo, and it is amazing for all the wrong reasons.
thank you, Brooks. Look,
It's now one of my favorite bad movies.
I know that my personal credibility is in question at all times on this show, but for me, Mickey 17 was 1 star. Brooks, for you?
3.
Adam?
2.5.
All right. We went a little long on that, but it was really good conversation.
Yeah.
Let's move on now to Novocaine, Jack Quaid's new movie. Adam's going to take us through that one, but first, here's some of the trailer.
So, what's your deal?
My deal? I'm just a regular guy with a regular job, but I've got this condition where I don't feel pain. Hey, there we go.
Oh my god, you're a superhero. Can you feel this?
Definitely feeling something. Last night was amazing.
Get on the ground! Open
All right, Adam, what is the story of Novocaine?
It's actually really, really simple. We got Jack Quaid carrying his first movie, which is awesome. We love him. He is playing Nathan Kane. He actually has a real disease known as congenital insensitivity to pain, where he literally cannot feel heat or pain. He works at a bank. There's a girl there who's nice to him. They go on a date. Things happen. He gets some feelings. The next day, bank robbers come in, and this is a Christmas movie. They come in dressed as
Yes,
Santa.
it is.
They kill some people, steal her, and then he goes out to basically find the bad guys and get her back. But the conceit is, since he can't feel pain, he's doing stuff like reaches into a fryer to grab a gun, or grabs a red hot pan and then burns the bad guy with it, or turns his hands literally into glass knuckles. We'll talk about my issue I have with hands, which Brooks was right next to me when we saw it. But yeah, it's almost like John Wick, but you can't feel pain.
It's like John Wick and Kick-Ass had a movie baby.
Yeah.
And
yes, exactly.
I want to know first, before we get into this, was it tough for you guys to experience Jack Quaid so quick after The Companion? Because to me, he's so himself in everything he does. He's one of those actors that is so great and we love them because of who they are, but they play themselves. And that's what we want. No complaints there. But he was just in The Companion, which was a very different kind of role. It was a little jarring. It took me a few minutes to sort of settle into this, that this is a different character than that one. Mm-hmm. Adam, jump in first. What did you think of not just his performance in this, but the film itself?
So I knew the basic conceit going in, and then let's just talk about the hand thing really fast. I have a really big problem in movies and in real life when people's hands or their feet get hurt. And this is because of the movie Flatliners, when they're working on a cadaver. In the middle of it, Julia Roberts gets exasperated and shoves a scalpel into the dead guy's foot and leaves it there. I've been scarred ever since then.
Well, this is no movie for you then.
No, the running gag is his hands keep on getting messed up. And I was sitting next to Brooks, freaking out the whole time.
I mean, there's nothing worse than catching a knife with your palm.
Yeah. And so Brooks is laughing even harder because this is a hilarious movie. It is meant to
but
be
Adam's
over the
like
top.
raising it above and beyond.
Oh, yeah. It's like, ugh, it was, even right now, I can't. Here's the thing. I'm not even going to say it's stupid fun because it's smart. It does things the right way. It's a little bit slow for the first 20 minutes until he gets on the case after the bad guys. But I love Jack Quaid. I've seen him in so much stuff. You know, we have Scream, The Boys, Companion, and he's always been that like little side character. And he was more of a main character in Companion. I just think he's adorable. Like he's just that's his personality. And also I think he's really cute. So that's my
kind of
thing.
reminds me of Clark. I don't know why.
Well, then that's probably
at
why
least
I think
facially.
he's cute.
Yeah.
He's great on camera.
Yeah.
He's so charming. He's got a great voice. He's got a great delivery. He's naturally funny. He's got it all. I think we're going to see more leading man performances out of him. I wouldn't even mind if they did another movie in this little universe they've just built because I think it was.
I don't know. I don't know if they can handle that. I don't think his body can handle that. It's not like
he did take an absolute beating in this movie. I mean,
so I'm really happy to see what he's doing here. I can't wait to see him do more stuff. And he pulls off action well too. Like he's got the comedy chops. And it looks like he probably did a lot of his own stunts based on how the movie's filmed. So I'm all in with this. I had a blast, and I'm excited for Jack Quaid doing big things now.
Brooks, this movie is no muss, no fuss. It's straight down the middle. You know exactly what you're going to get from the first minute. There's not a lot of surprises. It's one of those movies where I like to say it's no risk, but it's also no penalty, right? So it's the meta risk of that kind of movie is that it can be boring. This is not, right?
No, not for a second. I mean, I guess some people might be kind of bored with the beginning of it, but it's got to kind of set up a little bit of world building. And the way they did it was great. They have all these little shots of, like, at his office, he has a tennis ball on the edge of a desk so that he doesn't bump into it.
Or the shower.
Yeah, he's got the little knob, the little thing on the shower to make sure that he doesn't make it too hot.
He can't turn it too hot. Yeah. I did love the touches where they showed how he has had to modify his world to survive in it without hurting himself.
Because most people with this don't live past 25.
Yeah.
That's actually a real life fact.
Yeah, they mentioned that in the movie.
You know, one thing they didn't do, Brooks, to explain his story to us was a voiceover. just a couple of really well-placed visual cues, and we understood him completely. We did not need to be dragged around by our hair. I thought that was really smart in this movie. What did you guys think of him playing off of Amber Midthunder? She was great in Legion. I loved her in that show. She doesn't get a lot to do in this movie, but I think she matches him. I think she had a good energy, and their chemistry, I believed it.
Yeah, I do too.
No, she was perfectly fine. I mean, there's some things I don't want to say about it because there's some things that develop that
Right.
honestly I knew before I even went into the movie.
Sure.
I think it was just telegraphed from anyone who's seen a movie.
That's what I mean by no risk, no penalty. Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty clear
Right.
what you're getting into.
But you don't care. I mean, that's like whatever. But I think she does a fine job. I would love to see her again doing more. I think the way she pulled it off, the way she kind of became that, that little bit of a badass herself.
Yeah.
She was in
carries over.
Prey.
She
Yeah.
was in Prey, of
Oh,
I
course.
mean,
she was.
she took on the
Yeah.
Predator.
I should have mentioned
Yeah.
Prey first. Legion's what I think of her as, but of course she
Yeah.
was in Prey. Brooks, the reason I like her so much in this movie is because she has to play against Jack Quaid, who's great, but she also has to play against the villain. I don't even know his name, but he was awful.
Yeah, he was
not
pretty bad.
good. So she had to do both things, and I felt like she held her own and elevated every scene she was in. Do you agree?
Yeah, she definitely holds her own no matter who she was up on screen with, and that really helps. I mean, through the beginning of the movie, it basically was like a rom-com. This is kind of like an action version of Hard Eyes in a way, where it's basically a rom-com, but it's a full-blown action movie. And so I think that really helped, and that she's so likable and she's funny and can make a joke pay off if she wants to. But I mean, she is at some point kind of given the damsel in distress role for a minute or two. But yeah, she's still, by the end, she definitely still is in full control with the two of them. And yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing where their
He kind of
relationship may go.
goes from damsel to final girl.
True.
A little bit.
Yeah.
One of the things that this kind of movie has to do, it's just one of the age-old tropes, is it has to present police in a very specific way. They're either bumbling morons or super nice and accommodating. This one skewed more towards the latter, the super nice and accommodating. They were good people, right? And they eventually saw what Nate was going through and helped. But those kinds of things take me out of it a little bit, but it wasn't a big detractor. This is me just looking for nits at this point because I had such a good experience. When we get to scores, we're going to probably have to deal with the fact that movies are scored on their own scales, in their own context, and within their own genre rule sets. So for me to like Novocaine as much as I did after disliking Mickey 17 as much as I did does not mean that the two movies are comparable in any ways that matter for this discussion. That's one of the great things about this show. I love that we talk about two films because it enables us to address how different all of these experiences are and how singular and specific they are.
And you can't, because we'll just put it in something everyone understands, right? So if you go and you're judging a fast food restaurant, you're going to look at it a lot different than if you're going to a high-end Michelin star restaurant because you have different expectations. And you know what? I may love a Big Mac. I think a Big Mac's the best thing in the world. And you know what? I don't like a Jumbo Jack. So I'm going to give Jack in the Box a lower score. Maybe I go to a Michelin star restaurant and I have two of them that are in the same town, which would be awesome. And I'm going to judge them differently because foie gras is a lot different than a double cheeseburger.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I've never had foie gras, okay? I don't like liver.
I'm not sure what Bong Joon-ho was trying to cook, but he got it wrong. I can tell you, though, that with Novocaine, it's exactly what it set out to be. It knows itself. I really thought it worked on just about every level. There's some of those, like I said, tropey things that can be a little bit eye-rolly in this kind of film, but it's really hard to vote against Jack Quaid. The guy's just so engaging, so
like you want to be his friend in real life. Like you want to go get a beer with him.
If he would come on this show, I would gladly remove one of you.
You know,
He's one of those Nepo babies that actually deserves
But
it.
he says it too. He admits, I'm a Nepo baby.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But
he knows.
I might know someone who's a president of a film critic association. Maybe they can talk to someone.
Okay, so I like that. All right, let's go to scores. I'm going to go first. I thought this was a lot of fun. Like I said, it knows what it is and doesn't betray itself. 3 stars for me. Had a blast. I'm such a Jack Quaid fan. Just can't wait to see what's next. Brooks, where are you?
I mean, I feel the same way. It's pedal to the metal. It's pretty nonstop, but never gets boring because sometimes an action movie can start to weigh down if it's just go, go, go.
Especially one without any real surprises, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you know exactly what's going to happen. And all I can say is at the end of the movie, the way the bad guy finally gets taken down was one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. And the way it was edited made it even better because it was such a surprise because you thought you knew what happened and then you saw what actually happened.
You will need a strong stomach for this movie.
You
There's
got to
no
see it to
question about
believe
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm giving it definitely 3.5.
3.5. Nice. All right. Adam, where are you?
So I'm at 3.5 as well, if only because it's fantastic. And Brooks was able to sit next to me and see me squeal in laughter and in pain myself. I do have an issue at the very last 15 minutes. I don't like hey, let's wrap up the story and then boom, we have another 15 minutes of exposition like we had in Mickey 17. It's very Resident Evil if you played the video games. You kill the tyrant and then it comes back for that one final thing, or horror movies. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. But that being said, it's so just it's fluff, but it's not. Like a
Yeah,
fluff movie is like,
it's
oh,
smart
it's so
fluff.
cute. It's smart fluff, and you're gonna think about this. And Brooks was kind enough to send me the link for the Steelbook, and I've already pre-ordered it.
Nice.
Because we know I do that.
Of course.
I can't wait to see it again. And that's the biggest praise I can give a movie is I want to get on the ride, go back and see it again. And when I walked out, the studio rep was like, well, what do you think? I'm like, things that make you go, oh.
Yeah.
So that's my review.
This will go down as Adam's most painful movie of the year, probably.
I wish I could have seen both of these movies with the two of you for totally different reasons, but I wish I could have been.
Wait, next time we're going to make you sit in the middle.
Well, I don't think you would have wanted me there on Mickey 17, but for Novocaine, I think the three of us would have been elbowing each other the entire time.
This is what we need to do for Final Destination. We'll have counts in between the two of us.
And maybe a movie I might be bringing up later. So
if it's a horror movie, it's better if I sit between you so I can't leave.
That too.
Okay.
So we can hold you
I don't
down.
know. I think Clown in a Cornfield you're going to have fun with.
Oh, that one looks
He's
great.
excited.
I'm very excited about that one. There's no question. All right, so scores. I had 3 stars, Brooks.
3.5.
Adam.
3.5.
We're big Novocaine fans. I think we're big Jack Quaid fans.
Yes.
We're going to take a little break and come back and do our Guilty Pleasures Clones edition. This goes back to Mickey 17. Stay with us. Welcome back, episode 32 of Big Movie Mouth Off. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Guilty Pleasures?
Oh my gosh, why is my voice cracking every time I say that this episode? Oh my gosh, you have to leave that in, by the way, because I'm going through puberty apparently.
Okay.
All of this has to stay now.
Everything you just said.
Everything I just said staying, yep.
Well, Guilty Pleasures is where we're supposed to be, and it's this it's the Clones edition, thanks to Mickey 17. Brooks, you get to go first while Adam collects himself.
All right.
My name's Adam.
Well, mine is the 1992 Sam Raimi classic Army of Darkness.
I knew you were going to go there.
Yes.
I knew you were going to go there. Talk about why.
I mean, what's not to say? It's Sam Raimi. It's the Evil Dead universe. You've got a clone literally coming right out of his own body. It starts with his shoulder. He's got an itch. It turns out to be an eyeball. And then the rest of it manages to come forth as well. And it does everything that the Evil Dead series does, but in a totally different setting. It was very low on gore, but again, I think with the setting, that's probably why. And the fact that they're fighting a bunch of deadites that are just skeletons, there's not a lot of room for it either.
Did you notice, Adam, that Brooks just figured out a way to somehow make us think of The Substance again when he talked about a clone coming out of a body?
Yes. And
the Academy was wrong.
I don't know how this has happened. I love Evil Dead. I have never seen Army of Darkness.
It's on Shudder.
I know. I own it.
You don't have
I
it.
own it.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like The Godfather. I've never seen that either. And now I'm leaving the show. Thank you. Bye.
No,
it was a good 33
That's
episode
2 strikes
run,
this
whatever
episode.
it is.
No, because we'll have to both leave. I haven't seen it either. So I think you and I have homework, Adam.
I got a big screen TV. You can come over.
Okay.
That's true.
All right.
So say the year again, because you scared me.
1992.
1992. The reason you scared me is because my film is from 1995, The City of Lost Children.
I saw that on a list.
Ooh.
It's
a great
not on
movie.
it's not on a lot of the lists, but it's on some of them. And it's because the bad guy, his henchman, is a cloned person. There's several of him running around. If you don't know this movie, it's directed by a French duo, Marc Queneau and Jean-Pierre Jeunet, and stars a very young Ron Perlman. It's awesome. It's kind of like Brazil. It's kind of like a Terry Gilliam film. It's got that very surrealist energy, lots of crazy images.
It's French. It's kooky.
It is
Yeah.
French and kooky. Absolutely. I love it. I don't know that people remember that movie even exists outside of our normal circles. It's very dated. There's a couple of special effects that are just terrible, but as a mid-90s piece of art, I think it holds up. And it's cool to see Ron Perlman young, pre-everything, not just pre-Sons of Anarchy, pre-Hellboy, pre all
This
this
is like
stuff.
back when he was in Kronos for Del
Exactly.
Toro.
Exactly. I don't know if you know this, Brooks, but they did Delicatessen too. That's
Yes.
this director too.
And Jean-Pierre did Amélie.
Exactly. And the guy that does the clone in the movie is a French actor named Dominique Pinon. And he does the voice of the dad in Memoir of a Snail.
Oh,
The one who
nice.
passes away and orphans the kids and makes them have to face the world on their own. So anyways, full circle to another film that we all really, really loved, Memoir of a Snail. So mine is 1995's The City of Lost Children. Adam, did we steal?
no. And what's really funny is earlier today, Brooks and I were talking about that Brazil is getting the 4K Criterion coming out soon. So, we're all on the same wavelength, apparently.
We all know how much I love Terry Gilliam. We've been there before when I talked about The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen, and Brazil is one of my favorite movies ever. But what's your clone guilty pleasure?
So my backup was The Duel from Sundance. It was Karen Gillan having to kill her clone.
I want to see this
I
so
almost
I want
went
to
there,
see
Adam.
this so bad.
Yeah.
It was almost a steal. You have to see it, Brooks.
Yes, you do. It's really fun.
I looked
Especially-
today to see if it was on anything, and it's not.
Yeah. But of course, for a true guilty pleasure, I had to go with 2005's Michael Bay classic, The Island.
I saw this on a lot of lists too.
Oh no.
So it's
But
basically
I look for bad movies when I'm looking for my lists to see if there's anything
It's not
that's
a good movie.
You
with
can't
the
say
opposite.
this is good. This is not good, Adam.
No, it's not good. It's why it's a
That's
guilty
why it's a
pleasure.
guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Ewan McGregor, Scarlett Johansson live in this place where they're, they're not allowed to go outside because the world's contaminated. And you come to find out that the whole reason why they're there is because they are clones of rich people. And when the rich people need livers and kidneys, they get chosen by lottery to go into this, paradise place. And then they actually just kill them and harvest their organs and
This
stuff.
sounds an awful lot like that other movie with Andrew Garfield. What is
Which
it?
one was
Never
that?
Let Me Go. Is that what it is?
Is it?
Yeah, they're clones and they're organ donors.
No. Well, this one, so
That's
it's
funny.
typical Michael Bay fashion. Like it's stupid as hell. It's over the
Oh,
top.
yeah.
And there really isn't much of redeeming value to it aside from I
It's
just think
pretty.
It's pretty, but it does what Bad Boys has done, and it did what other movies we've talked about, where you get that last half hour, 20 minutes that if the movie would have ended and maybe do like a sequel, would have been so much better. But this one, unfortunately, doesn't do that. But it is worth watching for the one scene with Ewan McGregor and Steve Buscemi, or Steve, whatever, how you say the last name, where Steve talks about God. And Ewan McGregor goes, "Who is God?" And Steve says, when you close your eyes and wish for something really, really hard, God is the one who ignores you. It's worth it for that one line.
That is a great line.
Yeah,
and
it's
only Steve Buscemi can
Buscemi.
deliver.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah,
I
that's a
always
great
mess
line.
up his name. I mess up his name every single time. But
Does this movie have one of those Michael Bay dolly shots that circles the set piece and shows you?
I
all
believe at the
different
end,
angles?
so they set off at the end, Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson to destroy the area and free
Yeah.
all the people. And I'm pretty sure when they're grabbing their guns to go off, and then it spends the next half hour, which you didn't need. I'm pretty sure they have that shot.
I'm surprised none of us went with Jordan Peele's Us, because
I thought about it, but
Brooks, it's not guilty. It's a good movie. I know
Yeah.
people do consider it to be his only God Forgives, but it's not.
It's
I
not,
think it's
no.
good.
Mm-mm.
I think it's really
well,
good.
and it's hard to consider them clones for some reason. It just
Right.
doesn't seem like it.
It doesn't feel quite the same way that
Yeah.
clones do in these other films.
It's also his coming after Get Out, which we can all
Yeah.
say is a masterpiece. Like,
And so is
there's-
Nope. It's the best Jaws remake ever made.
That's why I made the Refn comment
Yeah.
with him, because people do consider that movie
Yeah.
a slight fall from grace, but I don't happen to
Oh,
agree.
no.
But Brooks, your guilty pleasure was?
1992's Army of Darkness.
Mine was 1995's The City of Lost Children, and you got two of them, Adam. What were they?
I got 2022's Duel, Dual, because there is a duel, but not that kind of duel. And then 2005's The Island.
Let's very quickly go through our coming attractions. The thing I'm looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to with a little bit of trepidation because I don't think the trailer is doing it any favors, but I'm excited about Ryan Coogler's new project with
Yes.
Michael B. Jordan's Sinners.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It looks like it's got such great potential. It's dripping with style. It's so dark, but so colorful at the same time. I'm just thrilled that the two of them are back together. Sinners, Michael B. Jordan, it's Ryan Coogler's horror movie. Brooks,
Yeah.
I'm excited
I
about a horror
know.
movie.
I was just going to say that.
What are you excited for?
I am excited for a movie I don't really know anything about, and there's not even a trailer for it, even though it opens in about a month, and it's called The Ritual. Apparently, it's about a pair of priests who are trying to do an exorcism, and it's got Al Pacino and Dan Stevens starring together.
Speaking of Legion.
And there's no information about it anywhere.
I haven't heard anything about this.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's so weird. There's a poster, but it could just be artwork for the movie.
Good cast.
Could just be promotional art. Yeah.
I don't think there's many people in the business that make weirder role choices than Dan Stevens right now. I'm curious to see what he does with this.
To go from Abigail to Godzilla versus Kong and
exactly.
The Ritual.
He is all over the map. It seems like he'll do anything, but maybe he's just seeing what sticks. I don't know.
Likes genre. I give him that.
He does. Adam, what's your coming attraction?
So mine, a little birdie told me about that it might be its favorite movie of the year. We talked before about Alex Garland. We reviewed Civil War in one of our, I think, first episodes or early episodes. So he's back with Ray Mendoza, who worked with him on the war scenes in Civil War and maybe possibly directed more by Ray Mendoza. I'm talking about next month's Warfare. A24, critical darling, of course. And this is based on the true story of, in 2006, there were a bunch of Navy SEALs pinned down in an Iraqi city or town, and they just trying to get out. And the whole movie is shot in real time. So, well, there's a couple times where I've heard, the little birdie said, that time slows down when something happens because they're recovering. But aside from that, you can literally count down like, hey, it's 2 minutes coming. And then, hey, it's 1 minute coming. And there's 60 seconds in between those things. And as the little birdie recalls, an interesting thing about this to make it as immersive as possible, because we know Alex Garland with his sound design makes the bullets feel like they're whizzing past. The little birdie doesn't recall that there was a score.
Oh wow.
Because the little birdie was noticing that it doesn't make anyone the good guys or the bad guys. It was just this happened.
Full disclosure, the little birdie in question here is Adam. He's cheating.
Yes.
He already saw this.
It's more of a little Ronald McDonald.
He already saw this. So
I went to a press screening way far in advance, and I walked out liking it. And every single day, the more I think about it, I am obsessed with this movie.
Well, you're pre-excited for me and Brooks.
Yes.
And I think Brooks and I are both really interested.
And Brooks hates war movies. So
no, but we both like Alex Garland. So I think we trust him. And even though Civil War was far from perfect, having his hand on that wheel helped that movie a lot.
Yeah.
So,
and what this one doesn't do, it doesn't turn into the third act of Civil War and become Call of Duty porn.
Also, doesn't it seem interesting that Will Poulter seems to be on like a studio contract from the 40s? Like, you're going to do 5 movies with us with A24, and we're not letting you out until you do, because he's in Death of a Unicorn, he's in this, and goodness knows what else. But no problem for me. Love the guy. All right, so our coming attractions real quick. Mine was Ryan Coogler's Sinners with Michael B. Jordan. Brooks?
The Ritual with Dan Stevens and Al Pacino.
Which none of us have even heard of. We're going to go do some research. Yeah. And Adam, last but not least.
Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza's Warfare.
All right, guys. We disagreed a little bit about Mickey 17, but we did not disagree about Novocaine. Everyone should go see that. Make sure you have a strong stomach, though. We'll be back in a couple weeks. We're getting into the good part of the year. Until next time, I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald, whose voice didn't crack that time.
Thanks for being with us, Adam. Big Movie Mouth Off was produced and edited by me, Jeff Counts, and co-hosted by Adam McDonald and Brooks Bird. Our theme music is written by Brian Z. Richards, and this show is dedicated to the memory of our founders, Jeff Michael Weiss, and my partner in crime for over 5 years, the incomparable Jimmy Martin.